Is any news organization you know of so corrupt that it's willing to hurt you on behalf of its biggest advertisers? Anyone who do that is obviously Pablo Escobar level corrupt and should not be trusted.
It's Monday, April 24. I'm Anthony Davis from 5 Minute News. Tucker Carlson, the professional liar and host of Fox News' The Tonight program, which has been on since 2016, has been fired by the network. This is the collateral damage off the back of the settlement with Dominion Voting Systems, who were suing Fox News for lying about the 2020 general election being in some way stolen, or that the machines were in some way compromised. Well, of course, that was not the case, but the lies continue to flow from Tucker Carlson and from other Fox hosts as well. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and a whole bunch of others peddled the same story, that Dominion voting machines were somehow to blame for Trump's election loss and Joe Biden's win. Well, that was not true. A whole bunch of stuff, they say, is not true. And the collateral damage from this settlement, it was a $700 million odd dollar settlement in the end. It didn't go to court, but in the process of this settlement, somebody had to take the fall. And it seems like Tucker Carlson is this person. He didn't know that he was going to lose his job. He did his last show on Friday, and he announced with great confidence that he would see the viewers again on Monday. Well, of course, here is Monday, and we now know that Tucker Carlson will not be presenting the show tonight on Fox.
And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love, and we'll see you then.
Let's just think about the damage that this individual has done to American society over the last decade. How he has taken advantage of people who rely on Fox for their news and information. The reality is it is not a news channel. It's an opinion channel. It is not based in fact. It is a right-wing, MAGA Republican propaganda channel that people who, previously voted Republican or traditional conservatives have stuck with, and now they have been brainwashed into thinking that the country is in a much worse off state than it is. They've been brainwashed into thinking that Biden is a bad person. They've been brainwashed into thinking that the election was stolen, that migration is the cause of all of America's woes, and that Democrats are trying to take guns away. Now, none of that is true. And yet, if you are a regular Fox viewer and you watch Tucker Carlson or Laura Ingraham or Sean Hannity, you will think that the country that you're living in is a much worse place than it is in reality. And you may be frightened to leave the house. You may be frightened to interact with people who are a different race to you or have a different skin tone to you. You will live in fear because the likes of Tucker Carlson have painted a picture of America in distress. And it doesn't have to be that way. And tragically, that is the reality for so many Fox viewers. They've been brainwashed to think that the country is a much darker place than the rest of us choose to live in. And it is a choice. You can choose to not watch these propaganda channels. You can choose to live in reality. And there are journalists who make the effort to report the facts. Now, you might not like the facts, they might not agree with your politics, but they are still the facts. And this idea that there are two narratives, that there are two Americas, that there are, both sides journalism, that is not factual reporting. It is not possible to both sides an argument and think that you've done a good job of telling the story. There is only one truth. And I think it's taking time, but hopefully the viewers of channels such as Fox will start to realize that what they've been watching is not the reality that other people are living in. And it's not necessary to live in fear. It's not necessary to have a kind of well-stocked militia so that you can take on an uprising government. I mean, the government that rose up was Donald Trump's government. They were the ones that refused to give up the power. That was the government that refused a peaceful transfer of power. It's almost as if the narrative has been so purposely confused that Fox viewers and Tucker Carlson viewers are just permanently on the defense and permanently thinking they have to be ready and primed with their finger on the trigger. So, what will come of Tucker Carlson and what will happen to Fox without him? Well, in my personal view, nothing will change on Fox. I don't personally believe that their editorial policy will be affected by this Dominion court ruling. I don't think that they're going to start focusing on the facts and not pushing a far-right or MAGA Republican agenda. And I think that whilst Tucker Carlson might be out, they'll be thrilled that that makes it look like they've dealt with the issue, when in fact there are plenty of other surrogates for this propaganda who are still very prominent on the network. Tucker Carlson, who I don't know what the terms of his contract will be. Maybe he's not allowed to work for another network for 6 months or a year. Sometimes there are these types of clauses. But already the Russian state broadcaster RT, or Russia Today, has already reached out in a tweet to Tucker Carlson to say, come join our network where you can say whatever you want. I mean, if that's not an example of how Tucker Carlson is very much on the side of the Russians, and we've certainly seen that a lot of the stuff that he was peddling on his Fox News Tonight show is rebroadcast by Russian state television, not just on RT, but on local broadcasters within Russia, exclusively to Russia, to make it look like America has a different agenda to the real agenda, of course, to make it look like that America is on the side of Russia rather than Ukraine. And that's, Tucker Carlson's view. He said it out loud many times. Why should I support Ukraine? Why is Russia the enemy? He asks these questions in the same way that Donald Trump has been compromised by the Kremlin. It's the same with Tucker Carlson.
Karine Jean-Pierre. It's a new day.
Ну что, Америка, новый день наступил. Каково вам? В курсе ли вы, что с прилавков в США исчезло детское питание? Рекордные отметки достигли цены на удобрения. Также бьют рекорды цены на газ, и снижаться они точно не собираются.
They're not even trying to hide it. It's not as if this is just a working theory. There are audio and video recordings of him saying this stuff out loud. He does not want Ukraine to be victorious. He is very much on the side of Russia. There is a history of people surrounding Donald Trump, including Tucker Carlson, who clearly have a different agenda to that of the United States of America, to that of the national consensus, to that of the executive branch, and to that of the current president and the White House. So what will come of this? What will be the long-term effect of this? Do you think any of the Tucker Carlson fans will understand what's happened here and realize that there is an issue that needed to be dealt with, that Tucker Carlson couldn't continue? Because this is a victory for political activists. This is a victory for the people who felt that Tucker Carlson was a stain on the American media, that his propaganda was unhealthy for the state of the nation, for the psyche of the nation. This is a victory very much for journalists and for people that have been calling Tucker Carlson out. And if you have been involved in that movement and recognized how much damage he has done to the psyche of America, then you can feel proud that your protest has had effect. And, that is the case. It's a little bit like Twitter in the last couple of days is now starting to return blue check marks to legitimate organizations. And, that is because of protest. That is as a result of the voices of the many rising up and saying that this is not acceptable. And if Fox want to have any credibility going forward, they're going to have to fire a few more hosts who do the same thing, say the same types of words, and feed this propaganda into the innocent viewers that watch it looking for the truth and for the facts, and they're never going to find it at Fox. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5 Minute News podcast and on Sundays on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.